Hello, my name is Justin Bestman, and I am going through the solutions for the assessment. And we are covering jQuery. So the first question is here, what language or languages is jQuery written in? So jQuery is written in 100% JavaScript. So jQuery is a library written on JavaScript. And then the second question is, instead of writing the $sign, what else can be written to use this library? This is very important because some libraries other than jQuery will use the $sign and therefore will confuse it. So just write a simple thing right here. So we're doing to the body, and we are going to put hello world inside. So I'm just going to do it quickly, HTML. And then I'm just going to open this in my browser. And there's hello world. So instead of using a $sign, which is actually shorthand just for this, if I can spell, jQuery. And if you notice, when I reload the page, exact same results. So that is what you can write instead of using the $sign. So the next question is, use jQuery, write code that would place the words hello world on the button with the class hey. So I'm going to quickly go up here and write button. I'm going to put hello world here. And then give it a class hey. And now, if I load this, actually I have to take this out. If I load this, now I have my button. So now we need to put words on it that say hello world. So for this one, we're going to use the .text. So $sign, and then we're going to select the class. So I just do quotes, dot, and I do hey, and then the text. .text will put text on any type of HTML element. So we're going to go ahead and put hello world. And then reload the page. And look at that, we got text on our jQuery button. So that is the answer to number 1 on syntax. Using jQuery, write code that can place an ID called hello on the paragraph with the class of words. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and comment this out. And then I'm just going to start writing a paragraph tag. And it has a class of hello. And we need to place words on it. So I'm going to go ahead, remove this, and then I'm going to do $sign, and then do my selector. And then I need to target that class. Oh, I apologize. The class is called words. Just like that. And then I'm going to dot, and this is where I'm going to use the attribute tag. So there's 2 ways that you can write this. You can do it ID, and then comma, and then what you want it to be. And if you watch, and I reload this page, I inspect, and notice the ID has been successfully placed on there. The other way I can write this is actually through object notation. So this allows us to take the objects, how we write an object. So it would be ID and then colon hello. And notice this will do the exact same thing. So we have ID hello placed on this element right here. So that's the answer to number 1. Oh, number 2. So number 1 on pattern recognition, Write an event listener for the button with the ID of clicky, each that every time it's clicked, you console log hello world. So I'm going to go ahead and comment this one out. And then I will use this one, change this ID, call it clicky, and now we have a new button to play with. So now we need to make a click event. So we'll do $, and then we'll select it. So don't forget we use our hashtag here. Oops. Use our hashtag like that. We call it clicky. And now we do on click. So this says what happens when it's on, so you can do other things like hover and so on and so forth. We do function. And now what we'll do is just a simple console log. Whoops. And we're console logging hello world. So this is a click handler for that. So if I reload the page, notice that now it is doing hello world. And there's another way that you can write this. You can take out this click here, and you can actually put click like this, and it will work just the same, just a little shorter syntax. I like the on there because I can read it on, click, then do this function. It's a little easier to read, but if you like this way, this one works as well. Okay, now the second question is make an image tag and give the tag a class called pictures in the source of this image. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're first going to make our image tag, and don't forget that an image tag can be made in jQuery as well, as long as any other tag. So I'm going to do image because image is not a keyword in JavaScript, so I can go ahead and use that. And then $, and then the element that I want to make, so image. And now I want to put a class on it. So I'm going to use the add class here. And then what do I want to put on? The class of picture. Okay, that will add the class of picture onto that. And then I also need to put a source tag on there. So I'm going to go ahead and just do attribute. This is the way that you can give attributes. And I'm going to do the object notation. Once again, you can do the other notation if you like. I prefer object notation, just read it a little easier. And then source, and then where the source of the image is. So this is in a folder called image, and it's in pick1 like this. Now, there's another way that you could write this. You can do class and put a class right on here. And this would do the exact same thing, if I can spell. And then you would be able to get rid of this line. Both ones would work. All depends on what you prefer. So that is how you would answer number 2. Okay, pseudocoding. Using jQuery, describe how you would go about adding 4 buttons to the page. Each button should, upon clicking it, change the page's background to a specific color to that button. So, what I would do, I would make 4 buttons with jQuery. I would give a unique ID to each so that we can target it. And then I would give it an attribute of the color that it would change. So it would be a data attribute, actually. Let me change that. Then I would append to HTML. And then what would I do? Make a click. I would actually put a class on there. Make a click listener. Grab the data with $this, and then do CSS with jQuery to change the background. So if you sum this up, this is pretty much what you would want to do. You would make 4 buttons with jQuery. You would give a unique ID to each one and a class, data attribute of the color, that you want to change, append it to the HTML, make click handler or click listeners, and then I would grab the data with $this to capture the user's click, and then CSS with jQuery to change the background. So that's what I would do. And then the second answer is I would have an HTML input tag, then jQuery, a click handler. I keep saying click handler, click listener for the field or input tag, like a button. Then I would make a query with, forgetting a step. I would then, inside the click handler, then use .val to grab the data or the input of the user. And then I would concatenate the query string with what they had. Ajax, and then on then being done, I would put the info to HTML. So that's the answer. I would make a HTML input tag, click listener for the input like a button, and then the val will grab the data input of the user, will concatenate the query with the user's input, Ajax request, and then I would put the info to HTML. So that's the answer to number 2. Okay, now the second one. This code is not working. Why? So the obvious one here is the class. We're targeting with a hashtag instead of that. And the second mistake here is we only have .on. So if you wanted to write .on, we would have to write quote click, comma, so on click. Or we can change this on to just click, and then it would work. So those are the 2 errors. The hashtag should be a dot, and this should be on. This should be click or on, and then click right here. This code is not working. Why? So the reason that this code is not working is because we don't have the jQuery CDN hooked in. If we had the jQuery CDN, this code would work perfectly. So always remember to include your CDN. All right, next question. Use HTML, CS, or JavaScript, or jQuery, and write code that takes user input that is a number. Once entered, it multiplies it by itself and places the new number to HTML. Okay? So I'm actually going to use this button here, and I'm going to make an HTML input. And I'm just going to go ahead and give it a class. I don't need to do anything else. I'm going to call it users input. You can get fancy and put a name and everything with it, but I'm just going to go and keep it really simple. And then I'm also going to make a separate div. You didn't have to have this for full credit. I'm just doing this for a place to put it so it's neater. And then whoops, other way around. Equals, and then results. And there we go. So now I need a click handler that's going to grab that. Okay. So remember, I need to write my click handler. So this needs to run when this ID is clicked. So I'm going to do hashtag clicky. And then I'm going to do on. And then click. Function. And I'm just going to go ahead and run this to double check that it's working. Don't want to get too ahead of myself. Okay, looks like the button's working. We're good to go. And now I need to grab the data that was entered in by the user. So I'm going to use .valve to use that. So I'm going to do I'm going to do var input equals, and then $, and then the class of what I'm targeting, so user input, and use .valve. And that will grab that info. And then we can also run .trim so that it can trim it up, but in this case, we're not going to worry about that. And then what we're going to do is make var number, or any other name, and that's just going to be input times the input. And then what we want to do is just HTML to the page. So we're going to do $, and then we're going to target the class of results. And it's going to be .html and then number. And if we try this out, there we go, 25. There you go. And then this is the time where you're like, wow, I get to play around and have fun. Bam. So that's how you would do this one. And now we're going to just make a simple AJAX call. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove this. And we just needed to write the AJAX call for this. So we're going to do $, AJAX. Remember, it takes an object notation. So URL, it has to be URL. And then we're going to give it the URL query. And then we're going to do the method. And we're going to do the get method, meaning that we want to get info from the server. And I forgot to copy this over, so I'm going to do this quick. All right, now we're done with that. And then we're going to do our callback, so .done. And then you can call this whatever you want. Tradition is response, because that's what it is. It's a response from the server. And then for fun, we'll just console log it out. And there you go. And that is a very simple AJAX request. And it's not going to run because this Omniba now takes a private key because it went private, not public, but in the future this would have a private key in order to run. But that is a simple AJAX request. All right, so those are the answers to the jQuery part of the assessment. Thank you. Bye.